Hey YouTube, this is Philox from Agony Gaming, bringing you yet another build that I've found to be very effective in World vs. World. I probably wouldn't recommend this build for dungeons, but it's definitely good for PvE. I don't know about PvP as of yet, so getting right down to it, here's the build. The gear pretty much went with PVT, or Power, Vitality, Toughness, all the way down to include the accessory, or the orb that goes along with it. Same thing all the way down, same stats, except for the weapon. I went with power, precision, critical damage, and of course superior sigil battle. They give me that extra might. As far as my jewelry goes, I decided to I try to keep the same base stats, but they're a little different. Power, vitality, toughness on one of my rings, power, precision, toughness, as you can see. But the main thing is, so long as you have power and toughness, that's the biggest part. If you can get vitality, get vitality. If it's precision, it still kind of works out to be just about the same. So that's the gear. Getting down to the traits, most important part of the build, like with most engineer builds. Here we go. 30 into inventions, 20 into alchemy, 20 into tools. So what you'll find out with this build is the problem isn't necessarily doing damage, it's just surviving long enough to do the damage. That's the reason why I didn't go anything into explosive or firearms. Trust me, I've already tried it. So in terms of inventions, as you can see, I went with cloaking device, become invisible for 5 seconds when immobilized. Also went with protective shield, very important one. When you are hit with a critical attack, you gain protection. And then stabilized armor, 20% less damage when you're knocked down or stunned. And then also went with self-regulating defense, and also protection injection, which means you gain another way to trigger protection for 3 seconds when you're disabled, whether it's stunned, dazed, knocked down, etc. On my tools, I went with speedy kits. Anybody who's watched my videos knows that in World vs. World, that's almost a must. And then static discharge. This is a static discharge build, so I mean, you really can't go without that one right there. That's probably one of the most important traits of the entire build. So as you can see, I got rifle. Obviously I went with the rifle, and then these are the utility skills. If you can, you're gonna walk around with medkit, and then if you can, switch to healing turret in the middle of the fight. If not, medkit will work just fine. In fact, I prefer it. Rocket boots, very important for chasing down your foes or being able to get away from a fight. And then the two turrets that I went with were rifle turret and rocket turret, and then supply crate. Rocket turret and rifle turret, it's very important that you time your when you drop it. I typically like to drop rocket turret and rifle turret right after I've net shotted them. That gives me enough time to kind of stabilize them. And the timing of your overcharge, of overcharging it, is very important. So this is what I mean. So as you can see, I dropped my rocket turret, and then if I were to press it again, I would overcharge it. And when you overcharge it, it has a chance to, it fires a missile, kind of like ballistically, and then when it hits, it knocks down your foe. So it's another knockdown, but it's very easy for your enemies to evade it if you don't do it just right. So I'll typically like to net, drop my rocket turret, and then I'll overcharge it, staying right next to, so I'll be fighting a foe staying right next to the turret, and then let it be another knockdown, and then I'll probably just drop supply crate or something like that on them. Also with rifle turret, as soon as I drop it, I'll just overcharge it right then and there. That way, it does it shoots a lot faster when it's overcharged. So very important, pretty nice. But where you're gonna make the most amount of your money is right here with your F1 through F4, rocket, surprise shot. Very important piece of the build is that you constantly surprise shot. Okay, surprise shot is instant cast, omnidirectional skill. And basically, what I mean by that is the only time that you can't fire it is if it's on cooldown or if you're downed or defeated. But you can be knocked down, you can be stunned, dazed, it doesn't matter. So long as it's not on cooldown or you're dead, you can surprise shot at any time. And it's an instant cast and multicast. So I can be in the middle of doing self bandage and then surprise shot at the same time. You can literally press them at the exact same time and they'll go off. See what most other skills, like you have to, initiate the skill, wait until it's done completing, and then hit the other skill. But as you can see, with surprise shot, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but the fact that it's an instant cast, omnidirectional type move, that you just continue, like as soon as it's ready, just hit it. As soon as it's ready, keep on hitting it. Just never stop. Whether you can see your opponent, whether you can't, whether you're running away, running towards, running from, running to, as soon as it's ready, just continuously hit it, and that damage will tack up over time. Your rocket turret, now if you're stunned or dazed or something like that, it'll go on cooldown, but it is omnidirectional, so you don't have to be facing your opponent in order for you to launch it. In fact, I like to, if my opponent's behind me, like for him to think that he's getting after me, then I'll hit my my rocket. Another thing to note is that your rocket kick, a lot of people think that you have to be, the opponent has to be right in front of you in order for your rocket kick to be effective. With static discharge, you don't have to be really even close to them. You can just kind of rocket kick the air, and so long as you selected the target, the static discharge will reach out and touch them and take some damage from them. So it's pretty nice. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of show you what I mean real quick. See, I got him highlighted. I rocket kick. I didn't even hit him, but the static discharge did hit him. So it's nice. You just gotta make sure that you time it right. So take, for instance, one of the things I like to do is I'll drop this and then I'll overcharge shot it, and what will happen is it'll launch a rocket. I got some people over there trying to help me out, but the timing of it is very important. Of course, supply crate. A lot of people may not know this, but supply crate is also a stun. So if you overcharge shot somebody and you drop them just before they get up, you drop supply crate, and not only will they be immobilized from the net turret, but they'll literally be sitting there stunned, which gives you more time to drop more turrets, get off more of your F1 through F4 skills. It's just about timing and knowing when to do the right skills. It's one of those things you got to just kind of play with and feel out. But all right, now we're gonna move on to the video clips. I'm gonna show you guys this build in action. Okay, so this first fight is me against a warrior. I decided to open up the fight with supply crate. Once you drop supply crate, you want to make sure you do everything in your power to keep your opponent in that supply crate area. Obviously, you want to do as much damage as you can. He tries to run away. I net him, and I blast him back into essentially the kill zone. And as you can see, it does a lot of damage. He does not last very long. One of the things I like to do is once I get him in that area, I like to hold him in there as much as I can. And as you can see, I mean, look, the fight didn't last very long. I'm getting ready to spike him, and he's already done. So the rest is just history. Same thing. I had a ranger who decided to sneak attack me from behind. I pretend like I was running away. I dropped supply crate. I turn around. I face him. I'm gonna wind up. I'm gonna net him, hold him still, overcharge shot him back into the kill zone, and look, I mean, he's down already in just a few seconds. I decided to test the limits of my build by not finishing him off immediately. I'm well aware that rangers can make their pets revive them or something like that, but I decided, I'm just gonna go ahead and test it out and see if I can make a highlight reel out of them. But I wouldn't advise that most people would do this. if you get an opponent down, spike them and be done with them. But again, this is just me testing the limits of the build. So I mean, right now I'm just essentially just toying with him. As you can see, he's almost back up to full health, which is what I wanted him to do. And then once he pops back up, so he does a move that blasts me back. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get really close to this guy, make him uncomfortable. He tries to do an AoE arrow move. I overcharge shot. I'm stopping him and getting out of the AoE simultaneously. Jump shot, doing some more damage. He blasts me back. I'm pretty confident I can beat this guy because I've already beaten him once. So as you can see, I'm just continuously making use out of my utility skills, and pay close attention to the amount of static discharge that's happening, because that surprise shot is making a lot of money for me. As you can see, every time that it's available, I just use it. So one of the things I like to do is when I do rocket, then I'll drop the rocket turret. Again, he's downed again. I decided, I'm just going to keep on playing cat and mouse with this guy. He's down again for the third time. I go to spike him. He pops back up. At this point, I'm not really worried about him because it just seems like I can beat him. I dropped him again with rocket boots, and then I don't even spike him. I just finish him off normally. So again, I wouldn't recommend that you guys do this when you have the opportunity to finish your opponent. Just finish him. But like I said, I was really trying to test the limits of this build. I decided to give my opponent a bow for his good efforts, and I don't know what happened. I just wound up laughing at him later. So go figure. But again, very important part: supply crate. When you drop it on your opponent, do everything in your power to keep your opponent in that area. So I wind up running into another opponent here. I think it wound up turning out to be a ranger. I started off with supply crate. As you can see, I'm using all of my static discharge moves. I started and then I overcharge shot him. I meant to overcharge shot him back into the kill zone. That was my fault, but that's okay. As you can see, I netted him. I just started shooting him. He shot me back, and I'm kind of used to that. To pay attention, that surprise shot just continuously makes money for me. And as you can see, I used my rocket kick, but I didn't have to actually hit him with it. The static discharge, made the extra damage for me. Made the extra damage work for me. Overcharge shot him again, disabling him. It's almost like a stun, because when you knock somebody back, I mean, they're essentially stunned. They're just laying on the floor. I go in here. I go for the spike. This time, I'm not even going to mess with him, and he becomes just another victim. So. Right, so you're gonna see with this next fight, I don't know I wound up running into another ranger. I don't know what it was. It was a ranger free for all. This time I got really bold in the fact that he actually had veteran guards and veteran scouts, which is why I think he stood around to fight me. But I don't know. I just started turning him up much the same. I dropped supply crate. I wanted to. My intent was to keep him in there. I had to wait for the right time, and just as he was facing it, boom, there it is. I dropped him in there, and then I went to go do jump shot for additional damage. Now, after a while, he started realizing, like, I'm just not going to beat this guy, and he wisely runs inside the keep, but still leaving me out there with the veteran guards, which then I used rocket boots, as you can see, to quickly get out of the danger area, and as you can see, I still have 90% of my life. So I like to believe that this build is extremely effective in World versus World. It allows you to get away, allows you to do damage. Now, this is an important piece of World versus World, knowing when to run, because it's not just about killing, it's about surviving. So I believe this is a warrior. He started running away, and then of course I'm going to kind of chase him down. I started off the fight by jump shotting near him, overcharge shotting him into a corner, and then drop supply crate for an additional stun duration. And I started going through my known sequence of fire, rocket, a surprise shot, rocket kick, the whole nine. Now he tries to run and get out of the kill zone. Now I'm going to net him, and then I'm going to blast him further to these where all my supply crates are. And as you can see, my turrets are just nailing him. I mean, he is hurting bad. He's doing his best, but it's not going to work. Now his buddies jump in. I drop him. Now this is important. You got to know when to run. So I rocket boot out of there. I wind up going over some of my little med packs. I heal up. All right, my automated response kicked in, so I was really in trouble. I jump shot further away from him, and as you can see, I mean, the Zergers, they're trying to hurt me. because I just downed one of their guys. But if you can just buy enough time to where you can do at least two rocket boots, I'm sorry, to do two rockets, then you'll be, for the most part, you'll be fine. But I started making my way forward towards the door. I went back to see, okay, was it really a Zerg? Was it just 2 or 3 people that I can beat with some additional help? But I looked at them. I saw that they weren't clones or minions of a necromancer. I said no, that's too many, and I just decided to wisely leave. All right, so another good example of knowing when to leave. I started fighting this Guardian. I mean, he was pretty tough. I still believe I could have beat him, but I mean, he was strong. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, he was a very tough guy, and my supply crate was still on cooldown from a previous fight. So I dropped my turrets, being rocket turret and rifle turret, and I'm essentially just kind of dancing around them, if you will, just to let them do additional damage. I could see all of his friendly guys in the background. I just said, okay, it's time to leave. So I heal up, rocket boot out of there, and you're going to see me. I'm going to switch over to my rifle, jump shot, and I'm just going to continuously keep on moving. I look behind me, they're distracted with somebody else, and I wisely decided to just leave. In World versus World, you got to know when to leave a fight. You being dead isn't going to help you at all. So another good example of knowing when to leave a fight. I see this guy somewhere there. I see the Zerg coming. Boom, use rocket boots, get out of there, switch over to my mini map, double click on the waypoint, and I'm gone.